Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Indie Power Hour, brought to you by the Santa Clarita International Film Festival. Our first installment of the Santa Clarita International Music Festival. We have music, we have comedy, and as part of our music festival, we are actually spinning up this podcast called the Indie Power Hour, all about interviewing and playing songs of independent musicians. We support our independent filmmakers. On this one, it's independent musicians. Indie Power Hour, brought to you by the Santa Clarita International Film Festival. That being said, I am so thrilled to have our first guest.
Say next generation, play next generation, anywhere we go, we say we can't keep on going. Dancing, bombing, and going on here, we're dancing, bombing. You want me swimming in all your love river,
Coolie Ranx in the house. Did I say that right? I don't have a good
Well, go on. I like the accent. Coolie Ranx. Yeah.
So Coolie and I go way back. Just this cat has been around on the scene in ska, and he's just a hustler. He's a grinder. He's a friend, artist. Coolie, why don't you start with a little bit about you, the human being? Like, where'd you come from? Because I know your story, and I think just that aspect of the human nature and the journey is just really interesting, and I think is some of the color in your music as well.
I was born in London, England. I was brought to America against my will at the age of 8, going on 9. I was in boarding school and I was taken away from my guardian by my grandparents. So my life starts really in England, begins after that in New York City, Brooklyn, which was in a rough part of town. It's called Brownsville. Some people call it 90s. Some people call it the 9 now. This is where Bobby Shmurda is from. Wrote some street music. He got on the radio. And then it got seen by some people that liked alternative music. And this brings me into the alternative world. I am an actor, which you had to be an actor when you're living in Brownsville and you came from England. You know what I mean?
Let's just talk about that for a little bit. Actor, what have you, I mean, other than the fact that you had to act in life just to make it through rough times, what have you been in?
Well, my claim to fame, I would say most people would know me from the Grand Theft Auto, the video game, Grand Theft Auto 4. So my character was a Jamaican drug dealer by the name of Little Jacob. So I'm pretty well known with that. I think even more so than Coolie Ranx. Music is that, but yeah, the video game gets me a lot of.
So, do you consider yourself a gamer? Is that something you're interested in, or?
I've never. Well, for the most part, the only games I've only played were the ancient games like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man.
Ancient. Hey, I call those classic, but you can call them ancient if you want.
They're the classics, but yeah, they're ancient. I've never really participated in the gaming thing. I wish I would, because I see these kids are making crazy money doing it. But God bless them.
So music, how'd this passion grab you by your shoulders and you go, I'm going to give my life to this thing?
Well, music was always in my life, but it was in a different form. It was classical. So I would listen to loads of classical music in England. So music has always been a passion for me. When I came to America, I discovered Black music. Facts. Never really delve into Black music because I wasn't surrounded in that. I went to boarding school. So I was not, in the hood. When I came to New York City, I heard different sounds of music, and was exposed to so much music. I could always dabble in a little patois because of my grandfather, but that wasn't my primary language. But coming to America, living in Brooklyn, you're surrounded by the culture, and Jamaican culture is very strong in New York City. And there was a point where you had to pick a side. Either you're going to be American or you're going to be West Indian. And I chose West Indian. Anyway.
So I met Coolie personally when I was 18. Fun little story. He was actually dating a girl who lived in a dorm. I was a freshman, and he was dating a girl. And at that time, I think you were on tour, right? If memory serves.
I would go back and forth with the Toasters.
Yeah, that's how I met Coolie, the fresh age of 18. First time living in New York in a dorm, and Coolie would everyone loved him. I mean, I was going to say you snuck in, but you really didn't. You just walked right in. People were like, hey, how you doing? The way our dorm was structured, we had like this huge lounge kitchen area in the middle, and he would come in and he would cook. And let me tell you, this boy can cook.
Hey, hey,
That
hey,
smell would just kind of drift down the hallway, and us starving freshmen who were living on ramen noodles would come out just following, right? Like a snake charmer, just following that smell. And he'd see all these starving girls standing in the common room, and he'd be like, "Oh, are you hungry?" He was cooking for us every time he was there, and he very much became the dorm dad. My naive 18-year-old self was like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, yeah, I'm in a band, and I sing." And I was like, "Really? Well, kind." And he's like, "Ska." And at that point in time, ska hadn't really blown up. But tell me how you got to that point.
I started with the Toasters. That was my beginning to the alternative world. And that came through some urban stuff. I played some urban music. It was on the radio. I was rapping, singing, chatting. And then I was introduced to the Toasters by Catherine Tobias. She wanted to manage me. Toasters lost their front guys. I stepped in. That was a short stint. Then I came back again for maybe 2, maybe 3 more years. And then I left again to start my own band. I didn't leave typically to start my own band, but it ended up that, I started my own band. Actually, that's when we met.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So
from the Toasters, it led me to Pilfers.
One of the songs we're going to play, Dance. Tell me about that one.
Recording this album called Dope 56. The tracks had already been laid. It was just myself and a bass player and an engineer in his home in Brooklyn. To loosen me up, he's like, I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. To loosen me up, he gave me some wine. Of course, wine is more classy. Yeah, I'll drink some wine. Drank another glass of wine. And
you do know that wine is more potent than most drinks.
I did not know. I did not know. It was like, give me the track. Turn it on. I mean, if you hear the dancing, if you listen very carefully, you can hear that I'm drunk on the track. I just freestyled the track from start to finish. In fact, I did the entire album drunk. I was like, there's other
How'd
songs.
that album do, Coolie? Just out of curiosity.
The best one that they've ever put out at that time.
Yeah, just
I drank some wine from South Africa the other day, and I was ready to record.
What are them things that we come inside and we can't come inside, we come around from thing, and whether it gets time to all massive and all cool, let's go and big up a chest. Our own boy and our own girl, hear it. She dancing, punchy dance, how we dancing, punchy dance, don't know we dancing, punchy dance, don't know we dancing, punchy, watch me. Come in and the dance as a true band, gonna leave a Brooklyn and me say someplace in York. Fling off the way style and we band to round, some no better know say we in a separate class. Can't begin it on a better move up the hip. Better know say time is slide and dip. Wine and grind, move up in your goddamn spine. Make them know what is on the road, boy, might not show it. Dancing, find it there, don't know it. Dancing, from the dance floor. How we dancing, from the dance floor. I'm going to your back on if you want some. When you come out and you take out the gun. Original band boy and that's wicked. They not play no go and we not play no game. Here the road boy from road is a way me frame. Here this I wanna make you all feel good. And so feed it and we mashing up the damn hood. Make them know say we nice enough the dance land. Anyway we go we say we can't keep on not showing. Dancing from the dance floor. No here we dancing from the dance floor. We dancing from the dance floor. Big up to your sister and play some more. We dancing, punching the floor. We dancing, punching the floor. I Sterling a play and we want some more. You got the rocky dance ringing. I put the sound on the Sterling. So keep on moving
Hey.
We've taken the wine out of Coolie's hands, unless he promises us 10% of whatever he records now. Pilfers.
Yes.
Talk to me about how that came to be. How long you guys were on tour. How long were you guys together?
So Pilfers started right after I left the Toasters. I sat down for about a year in my apartment in Park Slope, and I would walk down by the park, Prospect Park, and just write songs. So I wrote songs for about 6 to 7 months. I did some demos and put together a band within 1997. So this was 1996. So 1997 saw the rise of Pilfers. Like, it was explosive. Our first show was in 2 weeks after we formed. Most of the songs was written, then we wrote some more songs together, and it was just phenomenal. I think we were together for the band has been existing for 27 years, 29 years at this point. I think when we were first starting out, we were all probably touring for at least 10 to 15 years before we officially broke up. We did about two albums, one self-titled and one for the record label. Actually, sorry, we did three records. One for the record label, major label. Then after that, we left and we came back together 2015 and recorded a record. In fact, we just recorded another one, which no one knows. But yeah, so we'll drop a new one soon. The original crew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're getting the spice.
That's inside scoop, everyone. Pilfers are back together.
No. Just to do music.
Oh, just one.
We're family.
Gotcha.
We're family. You know,
Gotcha.
It's like a girlfriend that never goes away. No matter how far we go apart, you know, we're still gonna be family.
So 2 weeks and then you're performing. Where was your first performance? I mean, how long? I mean, obviously 2 weeks of practicing.
Yeah, 2 weeks of practicing, no lie. First performance was in the Meatpacking district. Place was called The Cooler.
Is it even there anymore? I mean, with how gentrified it is?
It's so gentrified. You couldn't even find a rat down there anymore. Rats used to be all over, but you won't find one now. Yeah.
Back in that day where you had all these great clubs, where you had all these great independent musicians and indie artists practicing and playing and showcasing their new stuff, right? I mean, New York used to have this heartbeat of an artist because artists could live in the city. Places like the Cooler are gone. Uniqueness of great neighborhoods where creativity thrived is all gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, which
gone, Limelight is gone. Mm-hmm. So many of these venues that we used to just Coney Island High, Wetlands, all of these places was, you could play anywhere, anytime in New York City. Now it's just like they just want to do door deals. Music is just being died. Is being sold out, computerized, digitized, and it's not the same anymore. But
I'll do one more quick trip down memory lane. Remember back in the day? I know it's going to bring a smile to your face, but do you remember the Village Voice?
Of course.
And the Village Voice is where you'd have those pages and pages of all the different clubs and all the different bands that were playing, and there were so many great bands now that we know of that started in these little hole in the walls, and that's like that independent artist spirit.
Totally crucified New York City nightlife. It's all electronic stuff and some big bouncer at the door telling you can't come in.
So talk to me about the next song we're about to hear. One of my favorites, Generation. A story behind it. What's it about?
The fact of the matter that time stands still and history repeats itself. There's always some type of a crisis. I mean, every day there's a crisis. So that song that I wrote was just the reason why it's timeless, because as human beings, we haven't gotten it together. We're just still doing the same mess. We're killing each other and we just don't know how to stop. I don't know. We just can't get it together. There's always somebody having a master plan to eliminate you in some form of way. Food, drugs, gun selling, bombing up your churches, mass shootings in schools. I mean, it doesn't stop. So that song is about a prayer that it would stop, and maybe the next generation would see that this is just a trap and we could stop it at any time. If we only looked at it from a different angle, perhaps. If you look beyond your front door, because I'm from another side of the world, I look around the world. I don't just look right in front of me. I look around the world because the world is where I'm from.
So let's take a listen to Generation.
Against mankind have been horrendous, and they escalate with time. manipulating truth and calculated lies is why the public can't see truth before their eyes. The ethnic cleansing in Bosnia, they're torturing up like churches in America. The ethnic cleansing in Rwanda, the desecration of sinners. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will do the angles from outside. We got the right to protest, you got the right to vote. So who's responsible for changing the advance of our times? Exercise independence, control your life. All able minds are ordained in civil rights. But if you turn a blind eye, you're just as guilty as the culprits. The innocent are sure to die, so rise up against injustice. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will do the angles from our side. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will do the angles from our sides. Which generation? My generation. Which generation? Your generation.
Time to awake! Right. Get up and fight! Now. Fight for mankind! Right. Live for our cause! Now. Time to awake! Right. Get up and fight! Now. Fight for mankind! Right. Live for our cause! Now.
Which generation? My generation. Which generation? Your generation. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will do the angles from all sides. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will do the angles from all sides. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will view the angles from all sides. Say next generation, pray next generation, I pray the next will view the angles.
Time to awake! Right. Get up and fight! No!
And we're back. So that was Generation, everyone. I hope that you liked it as much as I did. I hope it moved you as much as I did. And I hope, if nothing else, it made you a fan as much as I am. But let's keep going. You know, at the end of the day, it is about the story. It's about the person and the artist behind it. So, you know, I know one of the songs we're playing is Agua. Is that part of Pilfers? Is that part of, I don't want to kind of jump ahead of the story, Coolie, but is that part of now? I know that you've gone on your own, you're doing your first solo. So kind of tell me again, help bridge. I mean, obviously we talked about 15, 20 years of ding, that's confirmation, 15, 20 years of being, you know, with the Pilfers touring and you know, one quick question before we kind of go back to songs and the journey. But I mean, you've been an artist for over 30 years. You've traveled all around the world. You're intercontinental just by default of your journey as a child. But you know, what's some of the weirdest places you ever performed?
Well, I guess it was weird. It was weird at the time because I played in this squat in Germany, and it was a vegetarian squat, which for me was the best. It was like, I was like, oh my God. It was all these white dreads in there. And, it was like a scene. I could, what that scene, that rap scene where, I don't know if you've seen 8 Mile.
I have, yeah.
You see how dark and dingy that scene was, and the rapping, all these people was out there in the audience. That's how this place was, but it was more alternative people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. It was a bunch of little different caverns. Different cabins. You'd walk here, and then there'd be another place to turn, and there'd be a cabin over there. It was like a maze.
It reminds me of the tunnel in New York is what you're describing to me.
It was pretty. I mean, it was gnarly because if you were on something, you might be.
Maybe that's the idea. How the people there were.
It might be. Well, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But that was one of the weirdest places, but one of the best places I played because the food was amazing. The food, I never forget that food.
I was about to say, I mean, you've got a 30 years of touring, right? And I mean, you really are, as an independent, I think, musician, you're on the road a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so like, what are some of your favorite places? What is,
one of my favorite places in America would be Oregon. Oregon has always been like a beautiful country, beautiful scenery. I loved it. I think it was Portland. Yeah, we used to go to Portland a lot, and I really loved Portland a lot. Overseas, of course, nothing beats London for me. But then again, you go to Barcelona, where it's nice and warm all the time.
I vote for anything Portugal and Spain. You know me, but
there you go. So those places have been great for me.
And your favorite place to play? I mean, we talked about the weirdest, but what about the favorite venue? Yeah, I know we talked about like you want to play Red Rock one day, which I think would be amazing, right? But
I think for
and hey, anyone who from Red Rock who's listening, I just want to say we'll put some contact info and you can reach out to him directly. So
call Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Call Raise Fish. That's my homeboy. Anyway, so check out. I would say Irving Plaza in New York City.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
The venue is just set up like a theater. I would say, yeah, definitely Irving Plaza. I like the Gramercy, but I love Irving Plaza. Yeah, I like the Gramercy, but Irving Plaza just has that vibe with the balconies up top and bars up there, bars downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about. I've never performed there, so I can't talk about it as a performer. But I would have to second that. I think Irving Plaza is just. There's not been a concert that I have seen in Irving Plaza that just hasn't been really intimate, where you feel like you're really connecting with the artist. The artist feels like they're really connecting with the audience. The acoustics are amazing, and there's just not a bad spot in there.
Listen, you have to find me. Yeah, I'm in the audience. Like I'm on the ground in the pit with the masses. We played this thing called Apple Stomp. They had all the top bands from New York and other places, like different parts of America, and we got to play after one of these legendary hardcore bands by the name of Murphy's Law. It's one of my homeboys. Great band, hardcore, rough, killed it. I've never thought I could go after them. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the ultimate performer.
You're gonna have to send me some of his stuff so I can listen to. Maybe get him on the show. I think.
Yeah, he's amazing, and it's not ska. He has a couple of ska songs, but that's where we get all of that hard, heavy stuff from that band. That's my influence. Him.
Got it.
Him. So yeah, Irving Plaza, I would say, would be my fondest place to play.
So I know I digressed a little bit. Let's go back to the journey. Like where in the journey was Agua done performed?
Was actually, I think Agua was done. Okay, so the first record we were such in a vibe when we wrote the first record. all we had to do, and we were on tour, so we had to write songs while we were on tour. We wrote songs before we left on tour. So Agua is really probably in the first or the second year of us being a band. Yeah, it was right in when we were in the writing spirit. We were just writing constantly.
And you were as just momentum, I assume, just in that flow
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
creativity and performing. And
Oh yeah, because we were surrounded by so many different bands too. So we grabbed something from those bands, like Agua. The beat is from another band from DC. It's really from Motown, but they used to play a lot of Motown. Their style was soul ska. So I took the beat and added it with some hardcore and put some nice melodies on top of it and some breaks, and it was it wasn't that beat anymore. It wasn't that type of party. It was harder. Mm. So yeah.
All right. Well, then
influences come from everywhere.
So with that, then I think good setup. Let's listen to Agua and let the listeners decide what if everything you said is actually accurate or not.
Shout out to Pie Tasters, because that's who I stole it from.
Well, let's get them on the show too and talk about that.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely. You'd love to get them.
We'll talk about who we can get, because this is it. It's independent artists talking about their journeys, their songs. We listen to their songs. We get to know them. That's what this is all about. So, we will definitely connect about that. But in the meantime, everyone, here's Agua.
Embrace those early light with a view I never known. For it's the morning after, shades of crimson adorn the horizon. See like the cold fronts come and go. So I was glad when you came along. For you possess the right vibration. On wall, deeper, deeper. You come and swimming in all your love river. On wall. For my pleasure, I succumb to a gentle sleep. Follows union makes me weak. And it's the evening after I found peace in our encounter. Suppressed emotions much too long. So I was glad when you came along. We possess the right vibrations. But you have no pleasure. I want you from your company, see now. I feel so lucky that you chose me. So I dedicate my life, girl, to make you happy. Like a mermaid, you're gonna swim in ecstasy. Loneliness has come and went. Now my life makes much more sense. A reflection after I found you, just finally found me. Suppressed emotions much too long. So I was glad when you came along. You possess the right vibrations. But you have no idea what you're doing to me. Deeper, deeper. You're gonna swim in your love river. Deeper, deeper.
after hearing that, I actually wanted to jump on this one. It was something you said, and I kind of wanted to jump on it, but I bit my tongue because I wanted to let the song roll through and your story roll through. And you were talking about kind of the mix of influences in different kind of music that you bring into your songs. You recently just, I don't know if this is correct, ding, confirmation. You recently just created a musical genre. I don't know if that's the right word, but ragacore. Am I saying that correctly? And so I how would you describe it? What made you think of creating this? I mean, again, it seems to be that this right in your vein of taking, different kind of genres and combining them. But, I'd love to, again, hear your thoughts on where it came from, why you decided to create it, what you're doing with it in terms of the music you're creating, things of that nature.
Well, the first thing is just creating, right? So you don't start out saying, "Oh, I'm going to do ragacore." You start out just creating music, and I've always been in that position, thankful, to write music with musicians. What it turns out to be is what it turns out to be. So I started off in the studio with my godfather. I call him my godfather, could be my older brother, but he's a trained musician and taught himself how to engineer and produce. His name is Computer Paul. He lives in Jamaica. That's who does all of my music after I bring it from America. So I'm always in the habit of writing with musicians. How it turns out is how it became ragacore. My sensibility comes from reggae and a little bit of rock. A little bit of rock, not a lot of rock, but a little bit of rock. You couple that with musicians that play from different backgrounds, different areas of music, but still have their reggae sensibility. It's not ska. That was the first thing I heard when we were playing. When we did our first show, they're screaming out, "That's not ska! That's not ska!" as though we violated a sanctimonious a sanctuary.
Ska heads are very, very, very particular about their songs.
Not anymore.
and
not anymore.
The beat and the tracks.
I think we destroyed that. But when we came out, it was they wanted to crucify us. This was at the Cooler, the first thing. We just finished. I think we opened up or we played off there. I'm not sure. But it was a traditional ska band. So then we come up there with this, and they was like, "That's not ska!" Screamed at us like, it was just like the worst thing in the world. So yes, we take the beat of ska, and and make anything else. We combine it with everything and any other thing. Any kind of music can play with us, but it has to have some key elements, which would be the reggae and the hardcore and the hip hop and some dub and a little bit of jungle. And then,
it's not that I mean, ska is a mix itself, right? I mean,
well, we can argue that one because most people have there's several branches to a ska tree. Ska has the traditional ska has the jazz ska has the ska punk. There's so many branches to this thing called ska. So depending on who you have at that night, they may not be into your particular brand of ska, or they may just be like open-minded and say, "Hey, I like this kind of ska." It's a crapshoot.
Like I said, they're very particular, and they are very dedicated to their sound. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Like it's kind of like cultish.
You actually use the word. I was like, should I go there? Should I say cult?
You can say it,
But
because, no. There's a uniform to the whole thing, and it's don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but I never wore the uniform because I didn't come from the uniform like that. My standpoint is always coming from the hood. I'm from the hood. I can't just go out there and put on certain attire because it doesn't fit me who I am as an individual. I still, maintain I'm thorough. I'm still, thugging it, even though I'm playing pleasant music, so,
That's right. You're standing in your street gear playing a violin. That's right.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean? I'm still thorough, as my homeboys would say. Yeah, I'm thorough, brother. So I'm still thorough. Although some of my shorts that I wear are suspect, but hey.
we'll talk about your clothing line in a bit, but
the shorts are kind of suspect. I don't know.
So let's talk about. I mean, obviously, the solo breakout, right? This is relatively new. I think this is your first. Again, I'm going to go old school and say album, but this is your first solo album, right?
Absolutely. It's my first venture outside of the realm of Pilfers. And it's a slower version of the hard version that I've been doing for the past 30 something years. Some would even try to dub it as rock reggae, which is not, but feel free. This is ragacore, as the fast music is ragacore as well. As I said, there's different branches, right? So, and as the creator, I can say that it can be fast and slow, and I think I have that right to say that because I invented it. So yeah, it's fast or slow, and which we demonstrated in our second from the beginning. From the beginning, we did it actually. From the beginning of our career, we started it on the first record. We had a slow ragacore. On the second record, we had a slow ragacore, and so forth and so forth. Yeah, so. This is just a complete slower version of what I've normally done.
So I don't know if I already asked you this, but how many albums, records have you dropped in the span of your career?
My career?
Yeah.
So I think with the Toasters, I probably have done 3 to 4. Definitely 2 live. So I've probably done 4. I've done 4 with the Toasters. They've repackaged my songs and put it in different records and put it on different albums and repackaged it again and sold it again and all of that. With Pilfers, I've definitely done 3, and this will probably be number 4.
4, and then this solo album, correct?
And then the solo album, which I have so much more to drop. I did so much songs during COVID. I did albums during COVID.
Oh, really? Wow. So Days Gone By was the first, basically.
Yep. Days Gone By is the first one, first complete record that I've done in my life. Album, project, however you want to call it. And I'm ready to drop the second one. It's mixed already. And
so let's use that as a segue. So talk to me about Incredible, which is the last song we're going to play as part of this show. That's part of your solo journey as well?
Yes, that is a song that was in my head, and just analyzing us again as human beings. It goes back to the theme of next generation, and we haven't reached to the point where we understand each other. We're still being duped by the higher powers. We're led to fight each other just over stupidness, and we hold on to the stupidness so hard that we're pleasing the masters. But once we wake up and realize that we're being played by the masters, we could be incredible.
Well, with that, everyone, let's take a listen to Incredible.
Wrap my head around it, the way we go about it, trying to take over the earth. See, my life is in simplicity, I don't care about supremacy, I just need enough to live. Don't put your gun away, I am not your enemy. We have enough resources for all humanity. If we distribute the wealth, there's no need for greed. As I live and breathe, we shall be free. When we're not fighting ourselves, we can be incredible. When we just open our hearts, we can be incredible. I wonder when we're real.
perpetuate our own demise when we fight amongst ourselves. Food for thought was for the soul, will aid in making children grow, but who's gonna care about the old? Put your gun away, I am not your enemy. Shoot the messenger like you have done through history. I'm just carrying on traditions of ancestry. As I live and breathe, we shall be free when we're not fighting ourselves. We can be incredible. If we just open our hearts, we can be incredible. When we're not fighting ourselves, we can be incredible. If we just open our hearts, we can be incredible. Jah make I and I for a purpose. Still mankind is missing the point. Him not lend a helping and know without a profit. You know see how they act so trite. Jah born in the ghetto was a Nazareth. I him first bring her a star to light. And so me walk and me talk with Jah loving a me heart. Cause Jah me no one disappoint. Rich man drink champagne, fly them private plane. You know see how the balance ain't right. Canati in and they get to wonder pain and squalor, still they walking towards the light. If you deal with one, now you better stay far. Me no condone taking a life. Lean you a lean or a scheme, you a scheme, you better move out me eyesight. Jah not go left them alone. No, him not go left them alone. Jah not go left them alone. No, Jah not go left them alone. Now put your gun away, I am not your enemy. Don't shoot the messenger like you have done through history. I'm just carrying on traditions of ancestry. As I live and breathe, we shall be free when we're not fighting ourselves. We can be incredible. When we just open our hearts, we can be incredible. When we're not fighting ourselves, we can be incredible. When we just open our hearts, we can be incredible.
Spending some time with us today, letting us get to know you, letting us listen to your music. Couple of things, obviously, I want to support because we here at Santa Clarita International Film Festival is really all about supporting independent artists, because if you're an independent artist, you have to hustle. And so, you know, first and foremost, are you going on tour to support your solo foray at any point in time?
I will. I haven't planned anything yet. I believe 2024 will send me on the road as a solo artist.
Very nice, very nice. So dates to be announced, everyone, and we'll make sure that we mention ways to follow Coolie, so that you can pick up a show when he's in your neighborhood. And the other thing, which I know that you recently kind of launched, not that recently, but you know, let's talk about it a little bit again, because we want to support, is your clothing line, right?
Oh, yes.
Scottins, correct?
Scottins, yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't have that good Jamaican, so you're gonna have to say it for me. But yeah, so tell us about the clothing line a little bit. What inspired it? How people find it? How they can buy? Where they can go?
Inspired. It came to me in a dream. No lie. It just came to me in a dream and said, "Do it." I never had an inkling of doing a clothing line at all. It was just inspired by a dream. Told me to do it. I follow my dreams for the most part. I don't know why I was told to do it, honestly, but I do see that, you know, the massive responded to it. the ska community. They appreciate it, and you know, at some point, I guess I'll be able to throw my own big festivals and feed homeless and send money to Jamaica to the orphans, and I'll be able to give back. I mean, I guess this is what is for me to do, because I always was like, how do I get rich? So, so these are the things that, once I'm rich, I'll be able to afford and, take care of other people, like, because I always feel like I'm blessed. I'm very well blessed and taken care of. So
I would agree with that. And again, this is the personal side of me that's blending in, but you have had a good life, Coolie Ranx. You have had a good, interesting life. And I would think that any human being, that's the most that we can ask for, is something where we leave a mark, leave a legacy, have people that respect us, have people that believe in us, and that we live a life less ordinary.
Facts. That's how I feel.
So, how do people find you if they want to get your music, buy your music? Where can they go? I mean, the usual iTunes.
I'm on all the major platforms. You can listen to me on Pandora. You can listen to me on SoundCloud. You can listen to me on Apple Music. You can listen to me on Spotify. You can listen to me on every major platform. You can find me on IG, Coolie Ranx, COOLIE RANX, and same on Facebook, same on TikTok.
The talk of the tick, yeah.
The tick and the tuck, and my clothing line. You can find me on SKATINZ.com, or find me on IG SKA_TIN7, I think.
you might, yeah.
And on Facebook, you can find me at SKA TINZ. Skia Tings or Scar Tings, depending on how you like to say it.
Well, that's how it is, people.
Scar Tings,
That's where you find it, and I'll tell you, Coolie's very approachable. He responds to messages, he talks to people. That's an independent artist. You connect with the folks that support you, and let's support another independent artist. Go listen to the music, go buy the music, go buy the clothing line if you like it. Hell, buy it if you don't like it. Independent. That's right. Independent artists.
Check my band out. Pilfers, PILFERS. That's across the board. On IG is Pilfers NYC. Facebook Pilfers PILFERS. Get that. Excuse me, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you are good. You absolutely plug it, get it in there, connect with these guys, listen to their music, buy their stuff. And Coolie, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa, and it's a pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate you.